Okay, here we go. Hi, and we are live. This is the 11th edition of From Our House to Yours, which is really exciting. I'm Virginia Amos. I'm a realtor with Coldwell Banker in Old Town Alexandria. And today we are so excited to have with us Rachel Gang, who is the owner.
Co-owner. Yeah, my husband and I own.
All right. But creative force behind Helen Olivia Flowers in Old Town. And we are just delighted to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Great. You came highly recommended by someone else we had on the program who is a wedding photographer. Yep. And that was Erin Tetterin. And I know that she loves what you do with weddings. But I have to ask, Erin has certainly had a lot of her bookings canceled. And I would imagine that for you in the spring and summer, this must just be kind of an extraordinary time.
Yeah, so our industry has been really heavily hit by coronavirus. And it kind of happened overnight for us. Most folks who are in the events industry will tell you that the week of March 9th is when things kind of fell apart. And so that means that all of our social events like weddings canceled, a lot of our contracts. For example, we are in-house for hotels downtown, suspended, our corporate work, university work, everything just kind of disappeared. And it felt almost overnight that happened. So it's been an interesting couple of months. We're fortunate that we still have retail business, so folks who are sending flowers here in Alexandria and DC, and still have a workshop program that we can kind of fall back on. But the landscape for us is very different now than it was 2 or 3 months ago. So, we're taking it one day at a time and trying to be optimistic and positive looking to the future.
I absolutely understand. Our daughter and son-in-law in California are in the event space, but around road races and marathons and that kind of thing. And it's just, you can't just all of a sudden throw people together again when we reopen, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a big problem. I actually just am working on an article with the Washington Post, as a matter of fact, to them about what it means for our industry to get back on its feet. And when you stop to think about all of the different layers of our industry, of course, we need the government to say, hey, it's legal to gather again.
Yes.
But then you need customers to still have, a level of comfort and, to feel that they're being responsible by gathering. And what does that look like? Does that mean that events that historically had been several hundred people are now being scaled back for social distancing? And for the companies that support those events, can they afford to produce events with smaller margins? So it's a big problem, and I haven't talked to anyone who really has the answer or, their head wrapped around it yet. So, as far as a timeline for our industry, who knows? I think we're all conservatively thinking that we're not going to see a return for the events industry before the end of 2020, even if parts of the government and parts of our society reopen. I think it's going to be a long haul for us before we start to see bookings even return, let alone get back to pre-COVID numbers.
Yeah, it's you just don't know. That's all there is to it.
Exactly.
Well, let's back up a little bit. You bought Helen Olivia 2 years ago?
Almost 7 years ago, believe it or not.
7. Oh my goodness, I am behind the times. Okay. And you moved from Maryland to Alexandria because you bought the business.
Correct. So I am born and raised in Potomac, Maryland, and my husband in Silver Springs. So we're Montgomery County babies. And we actually met in high school. We were high school sweethearts.
Oh, how nice.
And somewhere along the line, we wound up working together for a large events firm. And we kind of knew that our next chapter would be owning a business together. And so we began looking in the greater DC area and happened to stumble upon Helen Olivia. So we knew very little about the Alexandria community when we decided to buy a business. Obviously, we had dinner out in Old Town before. we didn't really know what a close-knit community it was that we were buying into. And it's been a wonderful support for us over the last 7 years.
I would imagine so. I am continually impressed by the concern that small businesses have for each other and how they try and work together to pull through the hardest of times. Whether it's in Old Town, Delray has an equally strong business community, and it's really been nice. It's really been nice to see.
Yeah. We couldn't agree more. You know, we've joined several business organizations like Style Book and Scout Guide, which have been a huge support to us. And I think we're lucky because we had 6 years in Old Town. We became a really big part of the Old Town community. And then this past summer, we moved to Delray. So we kind of have one foot in each community, which is great, and a really loyal client base. So that's been a huge help. And, you know, you recognize and see the value in being part of a small community like Alexandria. And then something like coronavirus happens and that value just shoots through the roof. And I have friends who own floral studios and shops all over DC, and everyone is amazed by how well we're doing. You know, how are you busy right now? And that is 100% due to being in Alexandria and the support that you mentioned, you know, in between the businesses and, you know, just the people who live in our community who are so committed to keeping our businesses open and afloat and healthy.
That's a great feel. It really is. It really is. I know one of the things that you're doing, I know you have certainly done workshops in the store.
Yeah.
But I know you're doing some wonderful online classes now. I haven't had a chance to drop in, but please tell us more about those.
Yeah. So when we bought Helen Olivia, that was one of the things that, well, there were many things that charmed us about Helen Olivia. That corner location in Old Town is just like the quaintest storybook flower shop when we first looked at it. But the former owner, Marianne, had started teaching once a week floral workshops. And they were in such demand, and she was really kind of a pioneer. You know, back then it wasn't super trendy or cool to be teaching workshops, and she had built this program, and they were selling out. Like I couldn't actually believe when we bought the shop. She handed me a notebook that was the waitlist notebook, and
oh my gosh,
like pages and pages and pages of people, like names written in the margins. And so it has always been so popular and such a part of our studio. And we've grown that workshop program since buying the shop 7 years ago. So when coronavirus hit and, you know, we were looking at our day planner and thought, well, crap, what do we do with the workshop next week? You know, we had the idea that we would try doing it online. And so we hosted our first workshop on Instagram Live, and it was the weirdest thing I've ever done, to talk to a camera, nobody looking back at me, very uncomfortable. And we had delivered 12 buckets to the 12 attendees, most of them in Alexandria, a few in DC, a few in Montgomery County. And we got great feedback. Everyone said, thank you for doing this. This was literally the only high point of my whole entire week. So we decided to try it again the next week, and we grew from 12 students the first class to 30 the second class. And then, you know, we realized that kids were stuck at home with their parents. Their parents were going crazy. So we decided to release a kids workshop, which also took off. And before we knew it, our workshops were selling out in 2 days with 75 students per workshop.
Oh my gosh.
Our largest one to date, we did a peony workshop with 130 people, which was crazy. So, you know, they've been really popular. The community has responded overwhelmingly. You know, we've got some people who've even, you know, taken the Instagram class, but then signed up with their friends and done a separate Zoom call while they're taking the Instagram class. So they're having like a ladies' wine night simultaneously.
That's great.
You know, it's kind of grown and grown. We've gotten requests from some of our corporate clients who want to stay engaged with their coworkers and colleagues, and they want to do private workshops. So it's been fun. It's been a wild ride, but it's, you know, it's given us at least something that helps to supplement some of our big event business. a weekly basis.
I think it also speaks to the desire for beauty, for something that brings, in this case, plant life, but something that feels good, that looks good.
It feels alive.
Alive. And I know this is kind of a very bizarre comparison, but I remember having a conversation with a friend ages ago who was quite a gardener and referred to someone who, after World War II, and was talking about the restaurants in Europe that had, and just the whole landscape had been so devastated, and that they knew that things had reached a turning point when small vases of flowers, even if it was a single daisy, began appearing on the tables.
Yeah.
It was like a return to normalcy and a return to gentility and graciousness.
Yeah. Yeah, we couldn't agree more. And I think, for so many of our customers who, feel so unsettled and, are feeling alone, stuck in their house, it's nice to just have some type of creative outlet. It's like a meditation. We have customers who are doing these workshops every single week, and they call it their flower therapy. So it's been really cool. And it's also nice, one of the things that we love most about being a small business, and part of the reason why, our business has been fortunate to grow and grow and grow over the years, but we still maintained the retail arm of our business, is because we like being connected to our customers. We like being on a first name basis with our customers. How are your kids? How's your dog doing? And so these workshops are, kind of a lifeline to our customers. We still get to interact with them in some way, which is nice.
And I think that's so much of what people miss is that connection. How did you actually, did you grow up arranging flowers, gardening? Was this always a part of your life?
My mom is a master gardener. So, she's retired, but her love in life has always been flowers and gardening. And she, we joke that through coronavirus, that she should just move to her backyard because she's out there 12 to 14 hours a day. I have no green thumb. I'm terrible with plants and gardening, but I think I, grew up in a home that always had flowers. So that's where I got my love for it. But I think my real desire to get into floral comes from my background in event planning. So working for a large events firm and doing some event design, I always kind of looked with envy to the florist. It was my favorite part of the event to coordinate for my clients. And, we cast a really broad net when we were looking for a business to buy. We were looking at bed and breakfast, venues. My husband wanted to buy a gas station. We were all over the map. So when we saw this listing for a high-end, event florist, it just felt like everything clicked. And immediately, we said, hey, this could really be for us. And I think I knew that it wasn't a crazy idea. We had dinner with my parents the night after we saw the listing. And a part of me was expecting them to just say, you're out of your mind. This is a crazy idea. And they didn't say that. And that's when I thought to myself, if other people can see this for us too, it must not be that crazy.
Nice.
Yeah.
So do you do the majority of the floral design yourself?
No. So I can design, and I work on a lot of our, high-end accounts and accounts that maybe are a little bit more time-consuming, but we are fortunate to have an incredible design team here. So we have a full-time team pre-coronavirus of about 16 people.
Goodness.
And everybody wears different hats. So we've got folks who help book the events. We have folks who help with the logistics and, coordinating of all the vases and candles. We have a full design team. Within our design team, we have people who specialize. So we've got, designers who are, really kind of fast tracked onto weddings, and other designers who, are more, our sleek corporate lobby designers. Right. So, we are just so lucky to have a really hugely talented team. As the business grew, one of the things that I love and hate is that my time kind of gets pulled more into the the computer stuff. So I feel some days shackled to my desk when my heart would love to be designing, but I'm instead trying to source and secure flower from Japan for 4 hours. So yeah.
Oh, we have a nice comment from Nancy Carson, who says, a recent bouquet from you really boosted my spirits. So
Awesome.
Live and in-person commentary. Just out of curiosity, what is your favorite flower?
It shifts day by day. We got in an incredible, one of my favorite flowers are yellow tree peonies, which are super rare. They bloom really only 1 week out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just got a bunch of those in yesterday. That was very special. We all enjoyed those. I love lavender clematis, is a favorite of mine. Yeah, peonies, clematis, probably my favorite.
I probably would agree with you on that. Yeah. That was interesting. I don't know what that was. I'm noticing the orchids behind you. And I was thinking when at the beginning, when you were talking about how things had just fallen off and it affected so many people, how has the supply chain been impacted? Because I think about the food supply chain, where there are people who don't have food and yet food is being thrown away.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not ordering flowers, what is happening to those flowers?
Well, I could talk your ear off for about an hour on this, but I'm going to try to consolidate.
Okay.
So there are huge problems in our supply chain right now. So we order flowers in a couple of different ways. Because we're a large operation,
Mm-hmm.
many times we go direct to the farm or direct to the big brokers. The brokers are big flower houses in Holland, Japan, and we'll buy in bulk. So big quantities for big events, and they fly directly to us by way of JFK Airport. That's the way we normally operate. And then we've got a few local wholesalers who are based in Maryland who can also deliver to us. Another big wholesaler in New Jersey. So when coronavirus hit, New York was shut down, New Jersey was shut down, and Maryland got shut down. So basically every single wholesale house that we were used to ordering from came to a screeching halt. The challenging part was we were still legally allowed to operate. In Virginia, the governor had said, hey, as long as you're taking X, Y, and Z precautions, still conduct business. And, we had to quickly scramble to set up new relationships. And that's scary. We have relationships with our wholesalers. We talk to them 10 times a day. They're like part of the family. So we had to set up relationships with new brokers in Miami to import from South America. We were working with farmers out in California. But the added layer of stress was flights were a disaster. So we had to set up new shipping accounts.
Oh my gosh.
The flights sometimes had 4 layovers before they would get to us from California, and you'd have 3 canceled, flights along the 4 layovers. It was a mess. So it's been a stressful couple of months. It's, just an added layer that no one wants to or needs to be dealing with right now. The good news is within the last 3 weeks, a lot of our old wholesalers are starting to reopen.
Good.
So it's a little bit delayed. You can't get flowers next day like you're used to, but you can get them the 4th day. So we're getting back to normal.
Good. There was a picture. I don't know if you saw it or not, but there was I don't know if it was a wholesale florist or not, but in New York, and he had just kind of taken all of these flowers that he had left and had gone out and decorated trash cans on the street, and just something to do with the flowers and to bring a little joy.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen lots of stories like that in the news. The wholesalers in New York were really hard hit when New York just, for good reason, because of public safety, had to shut down. What do you do with all the flowers? And then you've also seen probably photographs in Holland where they were just, incinerating thousands of tulips. It's you know, it makes you sick, but
It does.
there's no good vehicle to get flowers to, you know, the public or, you know, the florists at that point when flights are so affected. So it's been,
nobody's sending flowers to the hospital because,
yeah,
I mean,
they won't receive them.
They won't receive them, right?
Yeah.
So, lots of layers to this, aren't there?
Yeah, lots of layers.
Lots of layers. Well, listen, I want people to know how to take these online classes that you're offering. So why don't you tell people how they can find out about them? Is there like a schedule ahead?
So we are releasing, just because things are not on totally solid ground yet, we're releasing workshops kind of 1 or 2 at a time. So if you go to our website and we're sold out, check back in a day or 2 and you'll find one. We are also updating folks on Instagram and on Facebook as we're releasing workshops. So if you just follow us on social media, that's a great way to stay in the know. But if you go to the website, helenoliviaflowers.com, and just click workshops, you'll see what's available.
And that's where everything is going to be. Okay.
Yeah.
So just for fun, what is the 1, maybe 2 things that you have just been personally relying on to get you through? It could be wine, it could be.
Yeah, well, it's not wine. I'm 9.5 months pregnant. So,
oh my gosh.
If it were wine, I really want wine or a margarita or something. But what am I relying on? I mean, truthfully, honestly, I'm relying on my staff in a huge way. We, you know, have always known that we've had an incredible team here, but I mean, a pandemic will really prove to you, you know, that you've got people in your corner who are, you know, incredibly hardworking and talented, and, you know, lift you up every single day. So that's one thing I'm relying on. Other things that I'm relying on, the business community, the small business community. I mean, it's incredible how many messages, emails, etc. I get a day just from other owners or people who are in our community just saying, how are you? Or I saw this and I thought of you. So, you know, I would say it's not a material thing that any of us are really, you know, relying on to get us through this. It is, it's like a human level interaction and support of each other that's been so huge.
Okay. And what are you most looking forward to when we're back to normal, whatever that may look like?
Babysitters. I have a toddler at home. You know, we're fortunate that we have an au pair, but, you know, her hours are limited every week. So, you know, having a babysitter to help out would be great. I'm looking forward to going out to dinner with friends again and reconnecting with people who I haven't seen face to face. You know, silly things. I miss walking into Starbucks. Just some level of normalcy would be really great.
Mine kind of changes from week to week. This week, it's a back massage that I'm just desperate for. But when you said you were from Potomac, I had 4 tickets for Greystone in April, and the only thing that made me feel, but it was like my 3rd visit there. I loved the place. The only thing that made me feel better about not being able to go is it was pouring rain.
Yeah,
but I can't wait to go, you know, to get back out there. So it's just those little things that, you know, we may not normally think about, but all of a sudden they take on a lot of importance.
It's also eerie how normal this is all starting to feel. You know, I don't know about you, but you know, the first 2 weeks were surreal. It felt like we were living in some, you know, bizarre land, and now, you know, this is starting to feel very routine and regular, and you know, that's a little unsettling when you stop to think about it.
Well, it is. And I said to my husband the other day, we were driving down Washington and it was practically empty.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, I'm kind of liking this.
Yeah.
Things have kind of slowed down. And I mean, I know it's really hurtful for some businesses. I mean, really, I'm still selling. I'm very happy about that, but it's not the same frenetic pace.
Yeah.
And while I love that, I know that that's not sustainable, you know, over the long run. So yeah, we've gotten used to certain things.
Yeah, but I think it's important. You know, the one thing that I remind myself is this too shall pass, and everybody needs to, look for the silver lining in this.
Absolutely.
It has forced all of us to slow the hell down.
Yes.
And, I am so guilty. I work, morning, noon, and night. I'm on my cell phone constantly. And this is the first time in my adult life that I have, not sat and responded to emails until 10 o'clock at night, or stressed about, my wedding on Saturday or whatever it may be. And so that is, a huge lesson that, yes, we will go back to normal. And yes, we're going to have those demands on our lives again. But this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for everybody to kind of reevaluate, reassess, and, maybe we all walk away and decide that unplugging a little bit is actually not a bad idea.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. Well, I'm so glad that I got you before your baby joins us. I didn't know about that. So the timing was good, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being with us today. I'm going to have to check out some of those classes myself, and look forward to the time when I can walk in the shop and actually see you face to face.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to, indeed.
All right. Thank you so much, Rachel. We'll say goodbye now.
All right. Bye-bye. Thanks
Bye.
so much.